I want to talk a little bit about me, which none of us do well. None of us British talk well or blow our own trumpets or whatever the case is. And I'm not going to do that, but what I want you to understand more than anything is my journey, my 30 years. I mean, in that little networking session, there were a couple of people that I spoke to that have only been in this sector for a very short time. What I'm going to talk to you about is my 30 years on this journey. And that 30 years started in 1989 as a service user, and take you through that journey to where we are today. So, in 1989, I lost 2 businesses, so I know now how not to do business. I lost my marriage and my home. And by the end of the year, in the December, me and 3 children, 2-year-old, the youngest, Christmas tree in hand, between Christmas and New Year, were evicted to a council property that we've since bought, trying to sell. Well, I have sold it, but that's another story anyway. I'm not going to go with that. And then I'll talk to you about my journey, and then also talk to you about my SELNET journey, because the work that, what we've achieved, and I use the we word really, really carefully there, what I've achieved at SELNET with an amazing team has actually got me to this point. I got Social Enterprise Woman of the Year, and you know, that's just little old me. I've not changed, I'm no different, and to get that praise and that achievement just blew me away. So I'm going to wind you back a little bit, and then I'm going to take you forward, if that's all right with you. So, I talked about my time. So back in 1989, I'd already started doing a little bit of work in terms of helping people. I can't keep still when I'm talking because I get so nervous. Is that okay? He's going to shout at me. Okay, so in '89, I'd run job clubs, I'd done job plan workshops, I'd done all the mandatory job centre projects and worked with people and had some great success. And then my world, it was like my world just changed when, in that year, where I went through quite an ordeal. I came out of that at the other side about 10 years later. So I talked about being a service user, I was a victim of domestic violence, I've been to the food banks when I've had no money and not been able to feed the kids. And so I get this. I really, really get this. And then I applied for a job. My skills are finance. My English skills are really weak and really poor, but you give me a spreadsheet any day and I'll knock spots off you. I'm just really good at the number thing, not at the words. And so when I did start to work again, I'd fallen back on my financial skills. I'd worked in different private settings where I was finance manager and so on and so forth. And then I was unhappy in a job. Kids were growing up by this time. Little, the 2-year-old, was at school, quite settled at school. And I floated my CV on Total Jobs. And this was so new at that point. I mean, I'm going back, 89, I'm going back to late 90s, mid-late 90s now. And I was skill matched into a job in Salford, West Hannah, Salford Community Venture, and they were looking for enterprise advisors. And we started delivering an ERDF contract there, and it was literally a team of 5 of us, where they just said, go forth and make enterprises. Oh, God, we had some fun. It was amazing. Already talked to Hannah about Ordsall Community Cafe. Ordsall, an estate in Salford, one of the top 10 deprived wards at that point, probably still up, yeah. And they're still there today. Back of my help set that up. I did the incorporation for that organisation. I'm really proud of it. I moved from Salford into Bolton Council, and so we've got Bolton CBS here, work for Bolton Council, again in economic regeneration, doing the business advice. Can't believe, look back recently on how much training that I did at that time. So I'm in my 40s now. My thirst for this learning, this knowledge and everything came at 40. And I really sort of grew and grew. So I did Bolton, and from Bolton I went to work with Lisa at what was then Training 2000. Lisa interviewed me for, was I an enterprise advisor? Yeah, enterprise advisor again. And even though I had this specialism in social enterprise, I came with that specialism because I've been doing social enterprise development for 10 years almost when I went there. We were working with women and enabling the women, and that was so much fun as well. So that was really a whistle stop of how I developed this experience that took me to 2005 in SELNET. And so, yes please. You can go back. Gone the wrong way. Next one.
Just go back.
That's it. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about my 14 years at SELNET. And crossed a few paths, met Matthew, in the early days at SELNET, and one or two of the others in the room. I'd linked in with Anne. Oh, she's here behind me. Okay, but thinking about SELNET, the social enterprise that it is, this has been a phenomenal journey. And this came out of true social enterprise style, a group of social enterprise practitioners, charity heads, or whatever you want to refer to them as. I'm so sorry. And they came together and recognised the strength in numbers, the impact, the greater impact of the group work, the partnership working. This is back in 2005, you know. It's taken us a long time to move on this journey. At that time, Matthew will recall, we were working with the NWDA. We got a small ERDF contract, didn't we? And we ran with that. And that was when I moved into SELNET. I was recruited to deliver for Lancashire as part of the North West sub-regional group that became Social Enterprise North West. You were Cheshire?
Yeah.
And Matthew and I sat around the table for Social Enterprise North West as sub-regional leads. So on that journey we really seized every opportunity on that journey. We did some capacity builders work. You'll remember the old capacity people that are as, you're younger than me. Why are you younger? You'll remember transforming local infrastructure. I'll never forget Nick Hurd hackling in from the back of the room when he said that he was going to sort out the North West infrastructure. And then we moved on and we moved on and we continued to deliver. We got to the creation of the Lancashire LEPs, more specifically for me, the Lancashire Enterprise Partnership. And the key message in all these 14 years as I've led this organisation is to always make sure you've got a good position. In fact, if you take anything away from this, know who your decision makers are and make a friend of them. And that's what I've tried to do. And seize every opportunity. Don't miss an opportunity. And I think that I'm quite right in as much that I have managed to do that. So, the biggest opportunity that came into Lancashire, or came to SELNET actually, was building better opportunities. And so I'm going to talk a bit more about this in a bit, because that'll take me really into social impact. And the now known as National Lottery Community Fund and ESF came into Lancashire as an opt-in, as part of the current ESIF programme. Don't worry, I am not going to mention the B word. And the sector nominated SELNET to lead the bids, partnership bids, into these 3 projects. And so we led the 3 we took the first 2, in comes Donna, into SELNET, and then we bid for a 3rd. And so the total investment that SELNET secured through building better opportunities was 9.2 million. And that was just astounding. And now we've just heard that we're being extended for a further 3 years with another 5.5 million. So I'll talk to you more about the impact shortly in terms of what those projects are having and how I want to learn from today how I capitalise on that, how I measure it, and how I report and convince people that our return is a good return on every pound spent. So, just a little bit about SELNET in its entirety and what we've done. This project that's already supported 1,080 Lancashire people. Our Investing Youth project, which has now surpassed its target already before the end of the period, and Changing Futures, which is the really complex needs. Now, the key for me in delivering these projects was I wanted to deliver it through socially motivated organisations. Like you said, it's the language, isn't it? Are we social enterprise? Are we charity? Are we socially motivated? And we succeeded. And when we opened these projects, we had 83 partner organisations delivering across Lancashire. That was tough. That was really, really tough, because experiences was that not all of the organisation had the infrastructure within their organisations to manage such a complex funding as what BBO became to be. We did it. We're proud of it. We've still got 50, just under 50 partners delivering. And I tell you what, we've learned things on that journey. It's been massive. Okay, so this is where I just boast a little bit, so move me on please. So in terms of SELNET's growth, this is where we are today. Just doing everything humanly possible to support our businesses. This, I can't quite recall what that 3.1 million is, but our turnover this year was just over 2 million. So we must be doing something good somewhere. Please, move us on. The biggest thing for me is promoting the sector. And when we begin to really talk about the Social Value Act and we start to talk about social impact, if we don't continue to shout about what all of you are doing in this room and to make people understand the return on the pound invested in our organisations, not necessarily as a grant, but as a piece of work, a service that we're going to give you, the return that the commissioner or the procurement head or whatever it is will get from his pound, until we can really make them understand that impact. We'll be winning when we do. So, our highlight of the year is our annual awards. And so in Lancashire we shout about it. We have our awards are due, they are happening on the 8th of November. We are expecting 250 guests to a glitzy evening. You know, it's dress to impress type of evening. And we award in 10 categories. I really sympathise with the judges, because we had almost 70 nominations across all the categories this year. But promotion, shout about it, make people see exactly what we are doing, which was what we did when we got this recognition. So I was quite humbled at becoming the Social Enterprise Woman of the Year. But yeah, we worked hard. We did work hard. I don't know whether I'm the most influential. I'm still not convinced that Lancashire listened to me. I'm not too sure about that. But what we've done is we have made an impression and made people listen to us, because we're doing a damn good job. And all of you are. Okay. So, in terms of future plans, so much to do. I'm 64. I've just turned 64 this year. My future plan is my exit strategy out of this. I think I've done my bit. Mind you, I'll be climbing the walls if I do pack in, but I'd certainly like to slow down a little bit. But we have some great plans. Building better opportunities, another 5.5 million being quite a bit of that. Somebody earlier in the networking spoke about, I think it was you, Matthew, talking about the climate. What's going on in the world? The world's gone mad type of thing. And I'm determined not to use the B word. That said, we're also looking for the final bits of this EU money that we believe to be the final bits. Go on. And we won't stop shouting. You know, Donna and I were down at Westminster a couple of months ago. We were there for Social Enterprise UK's Biosocial campaign. We do an awful lot of work in terms of shouting about it. And behind, in the background, I've got some really quite poignant pictures there, particularly of this guy in Blackpool, one of our Building Better Opportunities participants. Okay. Let's just have this is whistle stop, because these are massive programmes and projects, and they're doing some phenomenal work. And what I need to do now, what we need to do as a partnership, is be able to demonstrate this impact, the impact of what we're doing. I was astounded in talking to Hannah about her work is returning £17, that'd be good, wouldn't it? £17, returning £17 for every pound that the CCJ are buying from them. Correct? Yeah? We're at 3 years, magnificent milestone. We've supported 3,000 people, and 500 have gone into jobs, self-employment or training. Those are the crude results that the funder wants us to achieve. We are achieving so much more. So much more than that. Please, Anne. This is what we've got now is such a portfolio of case studies of people and feedback from participants on the programme. And we did a midterm evaluation, and essentially our projects would have finished in December this year. We now know they are to be extended. And we would have done another evaluation, a final evaluation, to get that measured. But we're not ending, we are going on. And so what we're looking for is to do a social impact measure in terms of the value, additional value that the funders have got from their 9.2 million. There's quite a few people in the room that I want to talk about. In terms of impact, we're saving lives. And how do you measure that? There's 2 youngsters just on one of the projects that fed back at midterm evaluation of our projects. I might not have been here today had it not been for that support. Now that really makes me get out of bed in the morning. That's what motivates me all the way through. And then we're starting to look now at how do we measure that we've prevented loneliness, and how do we measure that somebody has got a little bit more self-esteem, is more able to look after themselves, get up in the morning at a regular time. And I'm starting to talk to people in the room about things like that, and I'm looking forward to this journey. Strategically, SELNET's the go-to organisation in Lancashire. I am sort of starting to get them to listen to me, and I have got myself quite a key position in terms of the labs. I don't know what your findings have been in your own local areas in terms of your positioning on either the LEP Partnership Board or on the LEP boards, and whether or not you've been able to secure representation there or not. It's not easy, it hasn't been easy in Lancashire, but I am now on one of the advisory groups in terms of skills employment advisory groups to the LEP board. The industrial strategy. I know quite a few strategies have already come through. There were 5, I think, that were prioritised, Greater Manchester being one of them. That said, Lancashire's is in development, and when you know that you're doing an okay job, is that social enterprise is detailed as a strength in the SWOT analysis for the Lancashire's industrial strategy, or the sector is detailed as a strength, and I didn't put it there. I didn't put it there. I was around the table and somebody said it before me, and that's fab. That's fab. Okay, this is just really the work that we're all doing, and really proud of it. I sit on the investment panel with First Start, and Donna is advising the lottery fund in terms of usable, sustainable tools, processes, procedures, and trying to enable the projects to roll out for the next 2.5, 3 years, and be a little bit more manageable. So, this is our mission, and this is everybody at last year's annual awards. And it really is a tearjerker evening. It really is good, especially all the volunteers. The volunteers that are nominated on the night, we bring them up and we really make a fuss of them. And that's literally all our 2018 award winners. And you can see what our mission is. I think that's me. Thank you.